While promoting his film The Killer's Game on Chris Van Vliet's podcast, Dave Bautista talked about his pro wrestling career and how he does not feel that he had a career worthy of the WWE Hall of Fame. He talked about his performance and the length of his career as reasons why he doesn't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame, and conceded a little bit that with the stuff that he's done outside of the WWE, that's what makes him a worthy Hall of Famer. But in my opinion, completely ignoring all of his film career, he is one of the most qualified wrestlers to ever be in the WWE Hall of Fame. To be honest with you, I don't know that you could find any pro wrestling fans that don't think Bautista is worthy of the WWE Hall of Fame, but just in case there's any out there, I felt like today would be a good time for me to come on here and argue why I believe Bautista should be in the Hall of Fame. I'm Josh from Just MASH. Let's figure it out. Now, obviously, the WWE Hall of Fame is a Hall of Fame with absolutely no criteria whatsoever. If you get into the WWE Hall of Fame, it is purely just because the WWE decides that you belong. There's no wait list, there's no years amount minimum, there's no qualifications, there's no accolade minimum, there's nothing like that whatsoever. There are plenty of people in the WWE Hall of Fame absolutely worthy of such an accolade, and then there's also people like Drew Carey. But if we were going to look at the WWE Hall of Fame as a serious, credible Hall of Fame, just based off of accolades alone, Bautista deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Bautista made his WWE debut in 2002, but before that, he was in their developmental territory, Ohio Valley Wrestling, based out of Louisville, Kentucky, where he was the OVW World Heavyweight Champion. Then on the main roster, Bautista joined the legendary group Evolution with Ric Flair, Triple H, and Randy Orton. He is a two-time Royal Rumble winner in 2005 and 2014. He was Pro Wrestling Illustrated's Wrestler of the Year for 2005. He is a six-time world champion in the WWE, winning the World Heavyweight Championship 4 times and the WWE Championship 2 times. He won the Tag Team Championships 4 times, twice with Ric Flair, once with Rey Mysterio, and once with John Cena. Out of the 40 WrestleManias that have taken place, Bautista was the main event of 2 of them. He even got to retire at WrestleMania, which is an accolade that very few wrestlers have ever gotten. From November 2006 to December 2007, Bautista was involved in every World Heavyweight Championship match at a pay-per-view in the WWE. Just looking at Bautista's career purely from an accolade perspective within the pro wrestling business, he absolutely deserves to be a WWE Hall of Famer. And that's not counting his accolades within the movie industry, including being in some of the top grossing films of all time, like Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame. Looking at everything Bautista accomplished in his short career in WWE, it's wildly impressive from 2002 to 2010, with a short run in 2014 and 1 match in 2019. But on top of that, if you look at all the things that Bautista had to overcome in his WWE career to get where he was, makes it even more impressive. Bautista started training at 30 years old, which is very late in pro wrestling. A lot of pro wrestlers are winding down their career at 30 years old, and that's when Bautista started. He didn't make the main roster of WWE until age 33, and when he finally got there, he was saddled with an awful gimmick of Deacon Bautista as the sidekick to Reverend Devon. Bautista, being older, being saddled with a bad gimmick, he also had asthma and has routinely talked about how he would have to hide inhalers under the ring and slide out of the ring and use an inhaler to get his win back. Bautista was injured several times in his WWE career for long periods of time, which would have halted anybody's momentum, but he was always able to come back as a big star and get right back where he was before he got injured. If you look at the group Evolution, Triple H is the current top guy, Ric Flair is the older veteran that can give advice, and then Bautista and Randy Orton as the 2 young guns, up-and-comers. Clearly that group was a vehicle to get Randy Orton over to be the next world champion. Bautista was always looked at as the muscle, but very, very clearly not anywhere near Randy Orton's level while they were in the group. However, by 2004, it became apparent that Bautista was the one, not Randy Orton, to take over from that group and become the super megastar that he did. Imagine being young and inexperienced like Bautista was and being placed in a group with Triple H and Ric Flair and a second-generation talent in Randy Orton. There's a lot of expectations to be met there, and Bautista surpassed them all. It took Bautista a few years to really get his footing as an in-ring competitor, but once he did, he became one of the best in the WWE, routinely main-eventing pay-per-views and SmackDowns every week. Bautista left the WWE in 2010 to pursue a career in MMA and acting. He came back in 2014 after starring in Guardians of the Galaxy, now a bigger star than he was when he left the WWE, and even faced more adversity when he was pushed too hard instead of who the WWE audience wanted to be Daniel Bryan. In doing so, Bautista turned heel and became a bad guy to the audience and put on some really memorable matches like the one at WrestleMania in the main event against Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton, even losing to Daniel Bryan, putting him over further in the process. Then throughout the summer, Bautista, Triple H, and Randy Orton reunited Evolution to take on The Shield, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns, and put them over at 2 back-to-back pay-per-views. Bautista is one wrestler that has routinely given back to the business, even in his retirement match at WrestleMania 35 in 2019 by putting over Triple H one last time. Bautista put on many entertaining and classic feuds against the likes of John Cena, Triple H, Edge, The Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, Kane, Daniel Bryan, The Shield, Randy Orton, and Rey Mysterio. When he left the WWE to become an actor, he started out in pretty much nothing, bad movie, straight to DVDs, and eventually became a huge star in films like Guardians of the Galaxy 1, 2, 3, Avengers Endgame and Infinity War, Thor Love and Thunder, Knives Out 2, Glass Onion, Spectre, The Killer's Game, which just recently came out, Blade Runner 2049, which he gives one of his best performances, and Dunes Part 1 and 2. For me, as a kid that started watching pro wrestling in 2005 when I was 7 years old, Bautista was my guy. Bautista was at the top of his game. He was the World Heavyweight Champion, the main star on SmackDown, and he was the guy that I could really latch on to and support as a fan. From then until 2009 when he turned heel, I was still a Bautista fan and stayed as a Bautista fan, even as a bad guy. If Bautista was wrong, I was wrong too. I was going to watch him no matter what and be a fan. When Bautista stepped away for the first time in 2010 to become a movie star after losing to John Cena at 3 consecutive pay-per-views, I was disappointed, but I understood what he was trying to do. And when I first heard that he was cast in Guardians of the Galaxy as Drax the Destroyer, I, as a major comic book fan, was also very excited. Bautista has routinely, time and time again, surpassed expectations, whether it was as a professional wrestler or as an actor, and has shown that he is a valuable person to have in whatever you want him to be in. He also seems like a nice guy. I've never really heard a bad thing about Bautista. I've never heard a bad review of him as a human being or a negative interaction that anyone's ever had with him. If you watch any interview with him, he always comes across as the most genuine and humble person. And I think that's part of why he doesn't feel that he's worthy of the Hall of Fame, because he's just a humble dude. But I think when you look at everything that he's done in his career as a pro wrestler or as an actor, it is apparent that Bautista definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. Like I said earlier, I don't think anyone would disagree that Bautista deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, but hopefully after this video, maybe some minds will change and everyone can recognize what a great talent Bautista actually was. I've been Josh from Just Mash. Until next time.